back. Today we will explore the life story of the American cowboy, Gary Cooper. After enduring several surgeries due to a health scare, Gary Cooper finally felt a sense of relief. Yet, unbeknownst to him, his wife was harboring a shocking secret. Born Frank James Gary on May 7, 1901, he grew up on a ranch in Montana, where he unknowingly began his journey toward Hollywood. The ranch life equipped him with various skills, particularly horseback riding, which would later prove invaluable in his acting career. However, his mother, Alice, had different aspirations for her sons. She believed in a proper education, so she sent them across the ocean to England. Gary, with his adventurous spirit, found the school stifling. By 1912, he had enough of studying English, French, and Latin, and returned home. Unfortunately, tragedy struck when he was just 15. A serious car accident left him with a severely injured hip. His doctor, giving him the worst advice possible, recommended horseback riding for recovery. While this certainly didn't help his hip, it did shape his iconic walk, characterized by a tilted riding style and a stiff gait that audiences would come to love. Before he became one of Hollywood's leading men, Gary had dreams of being an artist. As a teenager, he was passionate about painting and even sold his cartoons to newspapers after dropping out of college. However, upon moving to Los Angeles, two friends from Montana introduced him to the world of film, where he worked as an extra and stuntman. Among these new acquaintances was rodeo champion J. Slim Talbot, who would become Gary's most loyal stuntman and his gateway into a brighter future. Talbot connected him with a casting director, setting the stage for Gary's rise to fame. By 1925, Gary had transitioned into stunt work in silent films, but he wasn't satisfied. The stunt industry had a dark side, often leading to dangerous situations for both horses and riders. Describing the work as tough and cruel, Gary was eager to leave that behind. He devised a plan to shift his focus to acting. He not only paid for a screen test, but also enlisted the help of an agent named Nan Collins. Recognizing that there were other actors named Frank Gary, she proposed a change. She suggested the name Gary, inspired by her hometown, and it turned out to be a brilliant choice, one that Gary himself loved. As Gary Cooper made his way up the Hollywood ladder, he had no clue just how successful he would become. In 1926, he landed his first major hit with The Winning of Barbara Worth, which earned him rave reviews and marked him as a vibrant new talent. This breakthrough performance secured the long-awaited contract he had hoped for, and Paramount Pictures eagerly brought him on board. One of the pivotal figures in his rise was the stunning Clara Bow. Thanks to her influence, he snagged a role in the highly anticipated 1927 film Children of Divorce, but their connection ran deeper than just professional, and a romance was blossoming. Gary, known for his charm, found it hard to resist Clara's allure. However, only one of them successfully transitioned from silent films to talkies. While Clara's it-girl status played a significant role in Gary's early success, he adeptly navigated the shift to sound films, whereas Clara struggled with her thick Brooklyn accent and ultimately fell by the wayside. Their whirlwind romance fizzled out, and Gary quickly moved on to dominate Hollywood. In 1929, while filming The Wolf Song, he embarked on one of his most tumultuous affairs with the passionate Mexican actress Lupe Vélez. Their relationship was fiery and often led to explosive arguments, which the tabloids lapped up. In one particularly memorable altercation, Lupe grabbed a knife and chased Gary, her anger escalating to the point where she accidentally cut him, necessitating stitches. This was just the beginning of a volatile relationship marked by drama. Gary didn't limit himself to Vélez. He also engaged with Hollywood legends like Marlene Dietrich and Carole Lombard. After 3 exhausting years, Gary realized that Lupe didn't fit into his life, especially since his mother disapproved of her. When they finally parted ways, Gary was worn out, yet Lupe wasn't one to let go easily. Having a history of violence, she made one last dramatic move. Just as Gary was about to board a train in Los Angeles, Lupe confronted him. Instead of a tearful farewell, she allegedly hurled insults at him, brandished a gun, and fired. Fortunately, she missed, and in the chaos, Gary ducked into a train car to escape. Reflecting on their tumultuous relationship, Gary later explained that Lupe's magnetic personality was hard to resist. He described her as someone who was full of energy and unpredictability, recalling how she would throw things on set if she felt it would make a point. Yet she firmly rejected being labeled as wild, insisting that she was simply being herself. In just 2 years, Gary Cooper managed to churn out an impressive 10 films, but it came at a steep price. The relentless pace took a toll on his health, leading him to lose 30 pounds and struggle with anemia and jaundice. Eventually, he fell into a deep depression. The stardom he had worked so hard to achieve felt isolating. In May 1931, Gary decided to leave Hollywood behind and journeyed from Algeria to Italy, where he planned to settle down. He found himself in the luxurious company of Countess Dorothy de Frasso at her villa in Rome. The Countess became his guide to European culture, introducing him to exquisite wines and culinary delights, while also teaching him the nuances of social etiquette among the elite. Yet, Gary's Italian adventure wasn't solely about upscale gatherings and art appreciation. He and Dorothy ventured to East Africa, where they explored Mount Kenya. On a hunting safari that lasted 10 weeks, Gary bagged over 60 animals, including 2 lions, antelopes, and a rhinoceros. However, the most thrilling part of this journey unfolded behind closed doors. The Countess, who was married, became more than just a friend. She and Gary embarked on a passionate affair. Their relationship flourished, even as Dorothy and her husband barely crossed paths. After a year of excitement abroad, Gary returned to his acting roots, but this time, he was wiser. He landed a lucrative contract with Paramount, agreeing to star in only 2 films a year. He gained creative control over scripts and direction, along with a handsome salary of $4,000 a week. With this new arrangement, Gary found his footing once again. By 1933, he was poised for a significant change when he met 20-year-old Veronica Balfe at a party. Unlike his previous romantic interests, Veronica came from wealth but wasn't part of the Hollywood scene, nor was she married. To Gary, she represented the possibility of a lasting relationship. After a string of fleeting romances, he finally found someone with whom he envisioned a future. Veronica turned out to be his ideal partner. They shared a passion for outdoor activities like skiing and horseback riding, and she opened doors to New York's high society. In 1933, they tied the knot in a private ceremony, away from the media's gaze. With Veronica by his side, Gary felt rejuvenated, and his friends noticed a positive shift in his demeanor. As the 1930s unfolded, Gary embraced his role as a devoted husband. In 1937, he and Veronica welcomed their daughter, Maria Veronica Gary. He embraced fatherhood wholeheartedly, teaching Maria to ski and ride a bike, and the family enjoyed many outdoor adventures together. While his personal life flourished, Gary was about to make a significant misstep in his professional journey. Not many people realize that Gary Cooper was originally the top choice for the iconic role of Rhett Butler in the classic film Gone with the Wind. He certainly had the rugged charm and sophistication needed for the character, but when the offer came, his reaction was unexpected. Gary flat out refused the role, convinced that the film would be a colossal failure. He even remarked that he was relieved it would be Clark Gable, not him, who would face the fallout from what he predicted would be the biggest flop in Hollywood history. History proved him wrong, as Gone with the Wind went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, leaving Gary to ponder what could have been. Yet fate had other plans for him, leading to a significant scandal in his life. Gary's marriage to Veronica seemed stable until an infamous actress entered the picture. When Ingrid Bergman took over the lead role in the 1942 film For Whom the Bell Tolls, Gary was on board. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and their passionate scenes were nothing short of electrifying. However, their connection quickly spilled off the screen. Gary, who had previously tried to stay faithful, found himself drawn back into his old playboy habits. Their affair was intense, but Ingrid was no naive romantic. She was just as experienced in matters of the heart. In fact, Gary later reflected on their relationship, lamenting that while Ingrid loved him deeply, once filming wrapped up, he couldn't even reach her on the phone. He had been outplayed. Gary's days of loyalty were officially over. In 1948, he began an affair with Patricia Neal during the filming of The Fountainhead. Despite his efforts to keep it under wraps, Hollywood's gossip mill quickly caught wind of the scandal, which nearly shattered his family. When the truth came out, Veronica confronted him, hoping for honesty. Gary admitted to his betrayal but showed no intention of ending his relationship with Neal. Instead of breaking things off, he continued the affair, creating a chasm in his marriage that seemed insurmountable. Ultimately, the couple separated in 1951. For the next 2 years, Gary's relationship with Veronica and their daughter remained strained amidst swirling rumors of his infidelities with other actresses, including Grace Kelly and Giselle Pascal. Despite the turmoil, Veronica still held on to hope for their marriage, welcoming him back home in 1953. However, Gary's tumultuous personal life was compounded by health issues during the 1950s, as he struggled with ulcers and hernias, leading to multiple surgeries. Upon returning to his wife, he resolved to change his ways and mend the broken pieces of his life. When Gary Cooper visited the Vatican, he arranged a private meeting with the Pope, hoping to embrace Catholicism and leave behind his past mistakes. He felt that a bit of faith could only benefit him. Throughout his life, he grappled with romantic relationships, but one bond stood out: his friendship with writer Ernest Hemingway. This duo was an unlikely pair, given their contrasting personalities. Hemingway was a free-spirited drinker, boisterous and always ready for a brawl, while Gary was more introverted, keeping his struggles hidden and even avoiding reading. Despite these differences, their friendship thrived for 2 decades, creating a unique balance. In 1960, Gary's health took a serious downturn when doctors diagnosed him with prostate cancer, which soon spread to his lungs and bones. Strangely, Gary remained unaware of the grim reality. His wife, Veronica, chose to keep his condition a secret from him after receiving the news. As Gary fought his illness, Hemingway battled his own mental demons. They shared one last snowy hike together before Gary realized he was nearing the end of his life. A couple of months later, Gary made a heartfelt public statement. On May 4, 1961, he acknowledged his fate, saying he accepted it as God's will and felt no fear about the future. Just 9 days later, he passed away. In a tragic turn, Hemingway couldn't cope with the loss and took his own life less than 2 months after Gary's death. What aspect of Gary Cooper's life intrigued you the most? Was it his tumultuous romantic escapades, his family life, or perhaps his brush with death? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to know more stories and scandals from Hollywood, don't forget to subscribe to our channel